Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. All right, men, here we go. There is a war on masculinity happening right now. Culture is no longer just confused about manhood. It is actively hostile towards it. So let's call this what it is. We are no longer living in a neutral world. We are living in a culture that is actively at war with masculinity, a culture that pathologizes your strength, your leadership, and your courage, a culture that would rather see you soft, passive, and neutered than strong, dangerous, and in control. And masculinity isn't just misunderstood anymore, it's being systematically dismantled. Today, you're told that if you're stoic, you're emotionally unavailable. If you're dominant, you're oppressive. If you're competitive, you're toxic. And if you're aggressive, you're dangerous. You've heard the phrase toxic masculinity thrown around. It's become a cultural catch-all for everything wrong with men. But let me say this loud and clear. Masculinity is not toxic. Weakness parading as virtue is. You see, modern culture is trying its hardest to feminize men and also to masculinize women, and traditional roles, we're told those are outdated. Manhood, that's the problem. Strong men, that's oppression. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let me quote you directly from the American Psychological Association, or the APA, the group that's responsible for shaping the mental health profession in this country. In 2019, they published a document that stated this, quote, "The main thrust of the subsequent research is that traditional masculinity, marked by stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression, is, on the whole, harmful." End quote. Let that sink in for a minute. The very traits that built this world, the traits that protect our families, defend the weak, and uphold order, are now being labeled as harmful. And if that's not disturbing enough, here's the final line of that article. This is how it ends. Quote, "If we can change men, we can change the world." End quote. Change men into what? We're not talking about growth. We're not talking about virtue. We're talking about a full-on agenda to reshape manhood into something more palatable, something more passive. But here's the truth they don't want you to hear. The world doesn't suffer from too much masculinity. It suffers from the absence of righteous masculinity. It's not strong men who are the problem. It's the lack of them. We don't need fewer men who are stoic, competitive, dominant, and aggressive. We need more men who know how to harness those traits for good. So today, I'm attacking the lie of toxic masculinity. I'm going to show you why these traits are not only not toxic, they're actually vital. They're the backbone of real masculinity, and they are the foundation for leadership, protection, and purpose. Men, it's time to stop apologizing for who you are. It's time to reclaim what it means to be a man. It's time to sharpen your edge. Guys, let's get into it. All right, man, let's peel back the curtain and look at this beast right square in its face. We're not talking about some crazy fringe think piece on a clickbait blog. We're talking about the American Psychological Association, the APA, the people who shape the mental health playbook, the group whose guidelines influence therapists, psychologists, school counselors, HR departments everywhere. And in 2019, they released their set of guidelines for psychological practice with boys and men. 13 years in the making, 40 years of research, they say. And again, here's that direct quote. "The main thrust of the subsequent research is that traditional masculinity, marked by stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression, is on the whole harmful." There it is. The APA just defined your very nature, your wiring as a man, as a problem to be solved, not a power to be stewarded, not a strength to be refined, but a problem. And don't miss the framing here. They're not criticizing toxic behaviors. They're condemning core masculine traits. They lump righteous aggression with criminal violence. They treat emotional regulation like emotional repression. They act like wanting to win makes you dangerous. But here's what really lights a fire under me. The very last line of this article reads, again, if we can change men, we can change the world. Men, just let that hang in the air there for a second. If we can change men, we can change the world. Now, side note, this article was, of course, written by a woman, but I want you to think about that. That's not science. That's not psychology. That's social engineering. If we can change men. I mean, what they're saying without actually saying it is that men need to be reshaped, reprogrammed, remolded, remade somehow. But into what? You strip away a man's stoicism, his drive to win, his strength to lead, and his capacity to fight, what's left? A compliant shell, a man who can be managed, controlled, safe, harmless. But here's the truth. A man stripped of his fire is not safe. He's useless. A man who knows how to wield that fire righteously, that man changes the world. And let me say this too. Of course, some masculine traits can be misused. Of course, men can act like assholes, tyrants, abusers, and predators. But that's not masculinity. That's brokenness. And the solution to broken masculinity is not less masculinity. It's better masculinity. The APA missed the mark because they're trying to fix men by fixing masculinity. But you and I both know masculinity is not the problem. It's the answer. So let's stop dancing around this. I want to talk about those 4 traits: stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression. And I want to talk about reclaiming them because when a man owns those traits righteously, the world is a better place for it. So let's break these down one by one. All right, guys, let's tear this narrative down brick by brick and let's rebuild it on solid ground. The APA said stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression are inherently harmful. Let me show you why that's 100% wrong. Let me show you why these aren't traits to suppress. They are weapons to sharpen. They're tools for men who are built to lead, built to protect, and built to serve. All right, let's start first up with stoicism. The APA claims stoicism is dangerous because it leads men to suppress emotions. But stoicism isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional discipline. It's not about denying feelings. It's about not being ruled by them. A stoic man doesn't explode. He doesn't collapse. He responds with intention. You want to see a man break his family? Give him no control over his anger. Let him live as a slave to every impulse. You want to see a man build a strong family? Watch how he responds to stress with clarity. Watch how he holds the line when everyone else is panicking. Stoicism is what keeps the ship from capsizing in the storm. This isn't cold-heartedness, it's controlled fire. And that's what we're training here at the Alpha Edge. And at this point, let me just throw in a quick plug, guys. We've got a free guide. It's titled The Stoic Edge Workbook. This is the step-by-step guide to building the kind of quiet, grounded strength this modern world desperately needs. You guys are interested in that? I will throw a link to that into the show notes for this episode. You can find that in whatever episode you're listening to this on. All right, let's get to the next toxic trait. Toxic trait number 2 is competitiveness. All right. Let me get this straight. You mean to tell me that the desire to win is harmful, something to be fixed, that to be the best version of yourself is a bad thing? That's bullshit. The truth is competition refines men. It sharpens us. It demands that we show up with focus, integrity, and fire. It brings out the best in us. There is no innovation without competition. There's no greatness without competition. This isn't about stepping on others to rise or doing anything in the name of winning. This is about raising your standards so that others want to rise with you. Look, competition exposes weakness, and that's the point. Not to shame it, but to conquer it. You want to know what's toxic? Telling men they shouldn't try too hard to win. Telling boys that keeping score is unfair. Telling grown men to stop striving to just blend in. Nope, no way, no how. Alpha Edge men compete, not out of ego, but out of commitment to excellence. And if you're going to step into the arena of life, damn right, you better play to win. All right, toxic trait number 3 is dominance. Let's talk for a minute about dominance. And I want to be crystal clear on this one. Dominance doesn't mean domination over other people. It means stepping fully into your power as a leader. Dominance is your presence. It's your courage. It's your responsibility. A dominant man doesn't shrink. He stands up when others sit down. He doesn't manipulate. He models. He doesn't demand control. He earns influence. This is the man who says, "Follow me, I'll go first," and then proves that he's worth following. The APA gets this wrong because they equate dominance with tyranny. But true masculine dominance isn't about control, it's about capacity. You dominate your life by leading with honor. You dominate your household by protecting it with strength and love. You dominate your business, your health, your mindset because you're unwilling to settle for average. Man, this is not toxic, this is noble. All right, and finally, toxic trait number 4, aggression. So finally, here we go, aggression. Guys, let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with aggression. What matters is what you aim it at. Aggression is your willingness to take action with force, speed, and clarity. It's what you need when someone threatens your family. It's what you need when you're building a business, lifting a barbell, or battling addiction. Aggression is power directed on purpose. Now, yes, obviously, aggression without a moral compass, that's dangerous. But that's not masculinity, that's immaturity. Aggression with discernment, that's a warrior. That's a protector. That's a man who sees injustice and runs towards it. A man who hesitates when it's time to act, that's not compassion, that's cowardice. You weren't made to sit idle. You were meant to fight for what's right aggressively. So go after your goals, go after your growth, go after your calling with unapologetic energy and aggressiveness. You want to change the world? Be aggressive about what is good. All right, guys. So these 4 traits, these 4 toxic traits are not flaws to fix, but they are gifts that we should be honing every single day. They're the very things that make you a man worth following. Stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, aggression. Refined, not removed. Directed, not denied. Harnessed, not hidden. And I'll say it again, masculinity is not the problem, it's the solution. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk next about what happens when men lose touch with these traits, when we start to buy into the lie, because there is a high cost of going soft. All right, man, let's zoom out here. What happens when men start believing this lie? What happens when a generation of men are told that their strength is a liability, that their leadership is oppressive, that their drive is dangerous? I can tell you exactly what happens. We get a generation of lost boys in grown men's bodies. I see it around me all the damn time. Men that are passive, men that are numb, men that are addicted, disconnected from their purpose, their families, their bodies, their creator, their calling. Men who don't know who they are. They have no purpose, no drive. Men who don't take responsibility. Men who drift. And make no mistake, everyone suffers when men go soft. And the fallout's everywhere. It's all around us. Look at all the fatherless homes right now. Right now, 1 in 4 children in America grow up without a father in a home. And the outcome? Higher crime, lower graduation, more addiction, more poverty. Not because moms aren't amazing, but because men checked out. Men are dying earlier. We have a 5-year less life expectancy than women. Why? Because we stop caring. We ignore our health. We numb out. We avoid discomfort until it frickin' buries us. We lead the suicide statistics. Men are 3.5 times more likely to take our own lives. Why? Because no one taught us how to carry our pain as men, as masculine men. No one gave us the tools to feel without falling apart. We isolate, we implode, we self-destruct, all because we've been told that being a man is a problem to be solved instead of a gift to be stored. And here's the kicker. You know what fills the vacuum when real men disappear? Tyrants, predators, weak men with strong appetites. We've got confused boys trying to play God with no moral compass in our world today. We've got angry young men clinging to false strength because they were never disciplined into real manhood. When men suppress their aggression, their leadership, their risk-taking, it doesn't disappear. It gets twisted. You want to know what actually creates toxic masculinity? The absence of righteous masculinity. Look, the solution is not to neuter men. The solution is to train men, to raise them up in strength, truth, integrity, and purpose, to give them a code to live by, a mission to pursue, a standard to hold. We don't need fewer masculine men. We need more men who are masculine on purpose. Men who lead their families, men who protect the weak, men who build communities, men who fight for what's right, and men who live with honor and restraint. That's an alpha edge man. Look, there's a reason modern culture wants to silence strong men. Because a strong man can't be manipulated. He can't be bought. He doesn't fold when it's hard. And he sure doesn't apologize for being who God made him to be. And if that kind of man makes people feel uncomfortable, good. That means you're doing something right. So no, we don't need to redefine masculinity. We don't need to fix it, to cure it. We need to reclaim it. All right, guys, we've exposed a lie. Now it's time to paint a better picture, because it's not enough just to reject the world's version of manhood. We've got to replace it with something righteous, something rooted in something real. Welcome to the Alpha Edge Alternative. At the Alpha Edge, we don't believe masculinity is the problem. We believe masculinity is the answer. Not the cultural clown show of fake bravado and unchecked ego, but refined, righteous, purpose-driven masculinity. Masculinity that isn't loud, but clear. Masculinity that is not weak, but it's controlled. Masculinity that does not destroy, but builds. And here's what real masculinity should look like. Let's start with stoicism. Stoicism basically is emotional mastery. It means we feel deeply, but we lead anyway, and we don't allow our feelings to dictate our behavior. We don't dump our emotions, we direct them. We're calm in chaos, we're grounded in grief, and we're dangerous in our discipline. Next up, competitiveness. Competitiveness is just relentless self-improvement. We don't need participation trophies. We need scoreboards. We're on a mission to level up in the gym, in business, in our relationships, and in life. And dominance? Dominance is courageous leadership. We don't dominate people. We dominate our calling. We own the room without ever raising our voices. We lead not from a place of ego, but because others need our strength. And finally, aggression. Aggression is just ruthless, righteous action. We channel our fire into discipline. We pursue goals hard. We confront injustice head on aggressively. We run toward the fight when others are running away from it. Every real man needs a code, and here's ours. We protect, we provide, we lead. We protect what matters. Our family, our values, our integrity, with our strength, our presence, and our words. We provide what's needed, not just income, but wisdom, stability, and strength. We bring the full weight of our masculinity to the table every single day. And finally, last but not least, we lead. That's not about power, it's about presence. We go first, we show up, and we lead by example. That's righteous masculinity. That's alpha edge masculinity. So when culture tells you to sit down, be quiet, shrink back, soften up, you rise, you stand firm, you lead anyway. You want to change the world? It doesn't start with policies or protests. It starts with one man, fully alive, on fire, clear in his identity, steady in his leadership, grounded in his truth, powered by his purpose. You were made for that. And look, to be clear, I'm not here to make any man feel good or to make men in general feel good. I'm here to help men get strong. Physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, spiritually. That's what we're building here. That's what the Alpha Edge is about. Not theory, not fluff, not passivity, but power, responsibility, purpose, brotherhood, driven by masculine men who harness stoicism, competition, dominance, and aggression to lead and make the world a better place. So guys, ask yourself right now, what would your life look like if you fully embraced the man you were created to be? No more apology, no more shrink wrapping or belittling your strength to fit in with culture. It's time to stand up. It's time to lead. And look, if this is resonating with you, if this lights a fire in your belly, that's freaking fantastic. Because I've got one final challenge for you guys here as we're wrapping up. This is a charge to carry into the battlefield of your life. Let's bring this episode home with a roar. Stick with me, guys, because you already know you weren't made to be tame. You weren't made to be neutered, numbed out, or boxed in. You were made to lead. You were made to fight, to build, to protect. You were made to be a man. And yes, the world is trying to break you. But maybe, just maybe, the breaking is where the building begins. Maybe everything you've been through, every mistake, every failure, every moment where you question yourself, it wasn't meant to bury you. It was meant to forge you, to build you. Because masculinity is not handed to you. It is forged in the fire. And look, if you've lost your way, if you've let the culture talk you into silence, if you've let your strength rust, your body weaken, your spirit dim, hear this, it's not too late. Because this world doesn't need a perfect man. It needs a man on the path, a man who's done being passive, done being ashamed, done playing small. So here's your charge. Rise up from the ashes. Reclaim what the world has tried to burn out of you. Rebuild the fire in your chest. Reconnect with your mission and refuse to apologize for being a man. Stop waiting for permission. Stop tiptoeing around your power. Stop living like your masculinity is a liability. It's a gift. It's a weapon. It's a responsibility. So sharpen it, wield it, live it. Every time you step into a room, bring your full presence. Every time you speak, speak your truth. Every time you act, bring purpose. That's the Alpha Edge. And men, if you're ready to walk this path with other men who are done being average, who are done apologizing, then you know where to find us. But look, clearly culture wants men to change. But I believe that if we raise up strong, righteous, capable men, we change the culture. So guys, go out there, lead your family, train your body, own your edge, and become the man you were always meant to be. Guys, I will see you on the front lines. So until next time, stay sharp, stay dangerous, stay alpha. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army. So that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen, and until next week, stay strong.